Hey basketball coaches, players, and fans, today I am going to be breaking down Duncan Robinson's shooting form. Now, if you are a player who is looking to shoot the basketball better, I would definitely take some of the pointers that we have from Duncan Robinson and incorporate it into your shooting form. Now, I just want to say that Duncan Robinson has grown on me as a basketball player. I am a huge fan of his already because he wears number 55, which is my jersey number when I played basketball. Let's get down and let's check out Duncan Robinson. Okay, so what do we have with Duncan Robinson? Okay, so let's check out this zoomed in view of his shooting form. So this is when they were playing against Atlanta, and the first thing that catches my eye when I am looking at his shot is his hand. One of the things that I tell every single one of the players that I train is to have your hand spread out on that basketball. The reason why you want to do this is because it allows you to have more control of that ball. By having your hands spread as far out as you can and keeping a little bit of a distance and a little bit of air between your palm and the ball, you're going to have a lot of control over that ball and where it goes. Next, we're going to start with his feet. Obviously, he is a right-handed player, so his right hand or his right foot is in front of his left. This is very important if you want to have a straight shot, but also a powerful shot. Next, we look up to his knees. Now, his knees look like they're starting to kind of camber in together, but some players do that a lot, and there are a lot of NBA players who have had a lot of success by doing that. So that is something that I try to have my players not do in real life, but it is not very imperative for them to change that part of their shot. What I am looking for, however, is to see both feet pointing towards the basket and both knees somewhat pointing towards the basket as well. Having his hips, both sides of his hips pointing towards the basket, which we see Duncan Robinson doing right here. And we also see both of his shoulders roughly the same distance to the rim. He's not looking this way, trying to shoot this way. So, what do we have here? When he goes up, the first thing we see is he catches that ball, and then he goes down into his shooting pocket. Then he doesn't move his elbow all that much until he starts getting to the top of his shot. What we see here is just the joint that's moving is his shoulder. And you want to have the least amount of movement in your shot. You don't want to have 10 different joints trying to do different things. So, when he goes up to his shot, unlike some players will have the arm go up like this. That does allow you to have a faster release, but by having your arm bent back slightly like this, it does give you more power, especially if you're shooting NBA range threes. You may need to do this to get extra power on your shot. So this is not something that I would change in his shot. Next, what we do see is his shoulders are pretty well in line with his knees, which are pretty well in line with his toes, which is going to allow him to have the power. And then when he goes up for his shot, we see that his shoulder and his elbow are in a straight line towards the basket. Now, why is this important? Well, as I've said in other videos, this is your aim. Wherever that elbow is pointing, that's going to be where your ball is going to pretty well end up. So this is a very important factor when you're shooting the ball. Next, we see that his pointer finger and thumb kind of make a V around his forehead, and this is something that will allow you to keep your shot going straight, and it goes over his right eye. Next, we see him starting to extend. He has a very high release. Players like Nikola Jokic will have a higher release, and other players, like we've seen with Iverson, will have a little bit lower of a release. So keep that in mind. At this point, you generally want to be higher than a 45-degree angle, and that's roughly 45 degrees here. So we're all set. That's going to have some pretty good arc on that shot. Now, when he releases, we don't have a frame that is there for his middle finger, but it definitely looks like it goes off his middle finger, or maybe a mixture between his middle finger and his ring finger. Either way, some players will have success having that ball roll off their ring finger. Now, I, as a basketball trainer, will always tell my players to have the ball roll off the middle finger because, of course, that's the longest finger on your hand. And if it rolls off the ring finger and your middle finger, then that ball is going to go out towards the right side. And if it goes off the pointer finger and the middle finger, it's going to go off the left side. Now, some players, they cannot get their hand up like this to have that shot go off that middle finger, and their hand will slightly turn. And when we go back on that footage, we do see that right here. We see that with those two fingers really wide spread out. Now, this is a tactic that a lot of players will use if they cannot get their hand to go like this. If they cannot get if their hand just cannot straighten out like this, and they can only keep it sideways like this, then they're going to have a larger space between those two fingers, which is what we see in this footage, a larger space. And there are coaches, at least up here in Canada, who have actually basically built a thing that goes between those two fingers to help out players to shoot because they cannot get their wrist straight, or at least angled that way to take that shot. And in which case, if your wrist is then angled slightly and these two fingers are wide apart, it's going to allow you to have a straight shot. Now, just a little bit of footwork when it comes to Duncan Robinson's shooting form. As we can see here, he's over here. He's catching the ball off of what looks to be a dribble handoff, and then he takes his last step. He catches that ball on what looks to be his right foot. He takes a very long step for his left foot. Check out the angle on that leg. Now, the reason for this is that is going to allow him to stop that momentum in that direction and transfer it into the upwards trajectory, I guess you could say. And from there, he's able to then come down on his toes and then go up for his shot. So I've got a video coming out very soon talking about energy transfer, but here we have Duncan Robinson. And what we have here is he is looking to receive that ball, and he knows he needs to get that shot off. They're in overtime. They're up by 10. He wants to take a 3. There's still 10 seconds left on the shot clock, but this is a good shot because of the distance between him and his defender. So what we have is a pass out to Duncan Robinson. He's able to then push off on his right foot as soon as he catches it, and then he lands on both feet. Check this out. So this is great energy transfer. He has both of his feet, that push off from his right foot over towards where he is now, has allowed him to now take where his feet are the way he likes to shoot. Now he's able to transfer that energy. You can see it go through his legs and then up into his shot. Now those legs will turn out because he still had a little bit of his body facing this way, and he wants to straighten his body out. And then he's able to get full extension on that arm, and that's why he's able to hit that shot. He's able to transfer the energy off of it was his left foot, into that shot form and into his shot. Everything from here power goes into his feet, up into his legs, and then into his arms and into his shot, which is why he made that shot. Always look for energy transfer. I hope that this video has helped you become a better shooter in basketball. If you have, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.